Yes, hi, my name's Sergeant Alex Dominguez, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Lord Fairfax Community College Police Department and some of the services we offer, as well as give us some safety tips and different things that we have available for you while here on any of the campuses. So we're going to go through a brief PowerPoint slideshow here. I'll explain some of the slides. Hopefully we can make this slideshow available to you, and you'll be able to use it as a resource. You also have the option to drop by any of the police desks at any of our campuses, speak with any of the officers, and they'll go ahead and give you any of the information that you need or that you may be looking for, or just to answer your questions just on general law enforcement, some of the rules of the campus, some of the laws that apply to the college. We are a full service police department, meaning that we are sworn in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are all police officers here. There are some campuses that do just have security, but we are an actual police department with a chief, command staff, and 16 officers. So hopefully you enjoy the slideshow. My information is at the bottom. That's the number to the main desk here at the Fauquier campus where I'm assigned, as well as my email address. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. We'll go right through this. Just for your information, any of the phones that are in any of the offices or classrooms here on campus do dial 911. That is a federal mandate that is for safety as well. You don't have to dial an extension to get out to 911 from anywhere in case of an emergency. That will patch you through not only to police dispatch for the local jurisdictions, but we'll get emergency, whether it be a medical emergency, a police emergency, fire safety issue, anything like that, as well as our numbers. We have police desks at the Middletown and Warrenton campus. Currently, we do have a campus out at Luray, as well as Vint Hill, that are staffed sporadically when classes are in session to have officers present to answer those questions. But if you'd like a question answered, just use one of these two numbers that are listed here. As I stated before, emergencies, you call 911. The number for Middletown is 540-868-SAFE or 868-7233 for Middletown, 540-351-1555 for our Luray or Fauquier campuses. This is in the instance that you want to file an information report or just speak with an officer in reference to anything that might be going on at the campus. Reporting can be done confidential. We do have a system called See Something, Say Something. If you care to leave that information, we'll go through it real briefly. I'll show you what the screens look like, what is applicable to that. You can remain anonymous, but I do tell people when you do remain anonymous at times, there's no follow-up, or if we need to reach out to you, if it's an emergent situation, we may do that. So to be honest with you, some things are never 100% confidential, especially on the severity of the allegation or the reporting or what actually the circumstances are. Any report will allow us to follow up, especially if there's any kind of potential danger or anything that you feel might be, even a student in jeopardy. You're worried about their well-being, their personal safety, maybe a domestic violence issue, maybe a mental health situation. So, please feel free to utilize us as a resource. And like I said, even if we're just here to answer some questions and maybe point you into the right direction, that might help you as well. See Something, Say Something can be accessed right through any of the main LFCC web browser or a web page. The information, you just click on the tab. See Something, Say Something is a great tool for us. Those reports will send that type of report to a threat assessment team, which will look at the report and immediately send it to where it needs to go. That could be anything from a Title IX issue, student support, which would deal with mental health, threat assessment, which is it could be a safety issue. You may have concerns about someone in a class, a staff member, anybody, just someone in the community, someone you saw walking around campus. We can use that for reporting of code of conduct issues, the academic honesty violations, and also community resources. Sometimes if people just need help, they may not want to come and speak to somebody about it, or a friend may have someone else who knows that they're in need, so they can go ahead and do something to See Something, Say Something. And once you log in, it's a very simple format. You enter the information about the person or the threat involved, and you just take it from there. Here's an example of the screen right here. You just enter your name. The only thing that is required on these format is the nature of the report, the urgency, the date it happened, and the location. The location helps us with which campus is most appropriate to handle the incident. Also the date, you know, if it's something that's ongoing or happening right now, we may need to do an expedited response. You do not have to enter your name. This format can be utilized not only for staff, but students as well. So it's basically open to anybody who have any questions or concerns that they need to bring to the attention of somebody. The nice thing about See Something, Say Something, like I said, it is confidential. So you can enter the information there. If you don't give us your contact information, we won't be able to follow up with you and ask additional questions. So, you know, these reports do stay confidential amongst the threat assessment team. So it's not like this information is distributed out there. So regardless, we just need to know about it. Like I say, it's better to know, even if we don't know who the threat or the report came from, just good to know that it does happen. It gives a screen for the details. We can, you know, there's a checkbox. If you did speak with an officer, you can say yes. You can list any additional information. So, and you can even put screenshots if it's threatening text messages, or somebody sent a note, or you found something or saw something. You could take a picture and you can attach that file to this reporting system. So it is a good, useful resource for not only us here as administrative staff, but for, you know, students as well. It gives them the option and the ability and the empowerment to go ahead and report incidents that they feel could be, you know, not only detrimental to them, but to anybody else. In emergencies, you know, we are the main point of contact for most emergencies here on campus. We'll cover a few things. Run, Hide, Fight is an acronym we use for if there is an active threat going on at the campus. We'll cover some of that. Code ATOM, which is used for missing children on campus and the procedures that we follow. We'll talk quickly about a lockout, which is different than a lockdown. A lockout is you know, a situation where there is something going on in the surrounding environment, but business can continue in the campus itself. We just lock the doors and nobody's able to come in. We'll talk quickly about evacuations and seeking shelter in a disaster or an emergency. Run, Hide, Fight is just basically what it states. You know, every person in an emergent situation has a different capacity or a different reaction. Neither one is right or wrong. You operate the best you can in whatever situation you're in. I tell people that, you know, you're in control of yourself. You do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. And that includes running, hiding, or fighting. You know, we don't tell anybody you have to do either or any of them in any situation. It's entirely up to you. You know, the run part, you know, escape, get away. We tell people in any situation, you know, even us as trained professionals, we have to fall back or withdraw slightly to handle situations. So getting out is the #1 key point, getting away from the danger, as it would be, I say, it would be analogous to fire. The closer you are to it, you could get burnt. You need to leave. You know, don't worry about the stuff you have. We can always come back and get it. You know, help others if you can. Sometimes people in an emergent situation, people get trampled, they knock down people, things happen. People get, you know, they get panicked. So there's nothing wrong with stopping and helping when safely able to do so. You know, warn individuals, you know, it's the old acronym where you scream fire, and it does get everybody's attention and alerts people to what's going on. There's nothing wrong with, you know, when you see something, be vocal about it and get out. Sometimes that's not practical. You may not want to draw attention to yourself, so just get out. That's the key point here. Call 911 when you're safe. It's better to get more calls than not. Any information you have can be helpful, and the call takers at the local dispatch centers are able to handle that. I know people get concerned with overwhelming the system, but the system is there to help us. So the thing is, that information is key to us. Anything you can give us is better than nothing. Hide. You know, sometimes you may be in a room or a situation where there's one door in, one door out, and you don't want to go into that hallway or present yourself with additional danger or put yourself in additional danger. You know, if escape's not possible, hide. That's what we tell people. Shelter in place, stay where you are. Wait for us to come get you. You know, silence your phone. You could put it on vibrate. You know, lock the doors, close the blinds, turn the lights off, cover the windows. You know, don't hide in groups. We tell people to spread out. Don't huddle everybody in one corner. I mean, I know every situation is different, so it's hard to kind of gauge what is or isn't the right thing to do. These situations are dynamic. They're quickly changing. They're, you know, sometimes very stressful. You know, so the thing is, you do the best you can in the situation. Try to communicate with police, first responders, anyone that can help, even staff. Use text messaging, social media. In the past, posts on Facebook have even helped first responders in situations by getting the information out there. You know, we tell people to stay in place until we arrive, you know, whether it be a police officer, a firefighter, rescue personnel, it could be staff members, you know. Your hiding place should have both cover and concealment. Cover is one thing that will just hide you. You know, in the terminology of cover and concealment used in a threat situation, cover will hide you, concealment will protect you. An example of cover would be hiding behind maybe a desk. Concealment would be something, you know, hiding behind a wall, something that will you know, will give you some cover, you know, some cover. You know, the cover will stop imminent threats or danger, and the concealment will just hide you. So it's basically it. Fight as an absolute last resort. We don't advocate people taking actions into their own hand. We ask them to go ahead and you know, do what you do safely for yourself, but sometimes you're presented with no other options. And people do fight when they have to. So the thing is not that we're advocating that you take action on your own part, but sometimes that's a last resort. You know, if you do commit to that or decide that that's going to be your action, commit to it. You know, your action should be violently against the aggressor. You know, ambush the aggressor. If you can hide around a corner, if you could, you know, hide yourself and surprise them, that helps as well. You know, and you know, we do have to mention it. If you are going to take that action, you have to be prepared to cause severe or lethal injury to the aggressor. If the situation is that bad, you know, it's kind of reason to that point. So it's an us or them mentality. So help people get your head in the game, have that kind of mindset. I mentioned briefly lockouts. Lockouts are when things are going on in the surrounding environment. There may be a local emergency. It could be law enforcement related. It could be someone barricaded in a house. It could be a fire. It could be something that's outside the college environment that could be detrimental. And we lock out, meaning we want to keep that threat outside of the environment. We want to keep that away from everybody involved. We want to make sure that, you know, everybody in the building is safe. Generally in a lockout situation, we allow business to carry on as normal. Students may be involved in classes and we may alert the staff that this is going on, but that the situation is under control. We may have been advised by the local authorities to kind of keep everybody in the building. So, you know, we get as much information out as we can, when we can, to the appropriate people involved. So a lockout is a situation that, you know, somebody may be faced with, but a lockout can either be escalated to a lockdown situation where we have to shelter in place, or it can be downgraded and people can be released and we allow people to come and go. Basically, these are just the key facts. You know, we bring students into secure areas. Activities may continue. Outside activities return to the building. It could be during the day. We would have people return inside and just wait till the situation is passed. There'll be nobody allowed in or out in a lockout situation unless it's a first responder or medical personnel. Those doors will be locked and will be controlled by officers and staff, and allow people to come and go as needed. Classes can be canceled and limited access to the campus, you know, at the dean's discretion, and you'll be notified by the LFCC alert system, which we'll talk about later on. It's good to sign up for the alert system because you will get periodic updates of not only activities that are going on, but emergent situations, closings, and severe weather, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. Emergency evacuation procedures. In an evacuation, you know, you get out through the nearest exit. We always tell people to familiarize yourself with the building. As you come in, see where all the doors and windows and exits are. There are maps in every classroom and in all the common areas, so you can look at a map at any point, and that'll orientate you to any of the emergency exits in the building. None of the emergency exits are secured. You can always go out any emergency exit. In an emergent situation, we tell people to exit immediately. Don't come back in for anything. If possible, tell other people. Let them know if you're running out and somebody's trying to get in, tell them there's an evacuation in process. Help others if you can. You know, avoid encountering hazards, avoid fire, suspicious packages, violent intruders, different things like that. You know, try and prevent people from entering. I mean, you have to do things safely and efficiently, but, you know, take the action when you can. Don't use the elevators, and refer to the maps and the evacuation routes that are posted. And those are in all classrooms by the main doorways. If you don't know where they are, please stop by the police desk and we'd be happy to point one out to you and let you know where they're at. We also say notify building occupants. Notification will be done through the LFCC alert system as well as a PA system. There may be fire alarms or other types of emergent systems activated, but the LFCC alert system is one of the most effective tools that we have. You'll also have teams of people going throughout the building, notifying of evacuation, whether it be a police officer, a staff member, or other students that have been placed in a position to assist with the evacuation. You know, there may be people with disabilities. You want to take that into consideration and help them. Horizontal evacuations are going from one building into a connected adjacent building on the same level. Some of the campuses have buildings connected to breezeways and passageways, so you know that may be a possibility. Vertical evacuation means you're going from upstairs to downstairs, or vice versa. So, you know, individuals with mobility impairments may not be able to exit the building without help. So if you see somebody that needs help, you may want to help them. Persons with disabilities should exit into hallways and ask for assistance. So, you know, it's the doer of good, as we call it. So when available and when able, we ask people to assist, and we're all in this together. So, you know, if you see someone in need, please take a second and help them. There'll be assembly locations. You'll be notified of where they are. In certain evacuations, the staff members will take large groups of people, and they're usually offset about 100 feet away from the building. Those evacuation centers is where we'll poll people, take a head count, we'll get names, we'll give whatever information is possible. Preparedness, we tell people, be prepared in any situation. Know how to get out. Some of the buildings have only one or two entryways or ingress egresses. There may be no windows in a classroom. You know, you may have a window, but it may be on the second floor. You may want to not use that as a means of escape. So the thing is, orientate yourself and be prepared in any situation like that. I mentioned Code Adam. Code Adam is utilized for missing persons or children. It's the process that we use here. You dial a number if you do know of someone that is missing a child or someone just you're unable to track them down. And this is for an emergent situation. That doesn't mean that you're just unable to locate somebody, but it's generally you may have a special needs child that has wandered off for a group, or you may notice that someone's no longer with you and you want to notify the police. Then we'll activate the Code Adam system. This will mobilize the emergency response team, and we'll set into motions the things that help us to locate the people on campus. At that point, once the ERT team is involved, there's specific processes in terms of searching and working with the local and surrounding jurisdictions, not only law enforcement, but other first responders, fire rescue, in helping in that search and where it goes from there. And you know, the LFCC alert system is also another thing. You'll receive notified via text, social media, of any updates that we do have. So Code Adam, if that is put into effect, you will be notified. You'll be told, you know, what's going on and what information can be released, and anything that may assist us with that process. If you're involved in or the reporting party of a missing person, we do need to have all the descriptors: the name, the race, the age, gender, height, weight, hair color, skin color, distinguishing features, any clothing types, any type of hat or shirt or bag, or anything that would make this person stand out. Any of these little things that just may be, even a logo on a t-shirt may help us. Any medical conditions, whether there be, you know, a mental health issue or anything that may help contribute to that. Sometimes you maybe deal with levels or different spectrums of autism that may, you know, be necessary for us to know about to help in this search and to expedite the process and gauge our response. So certain situations demand immediate more scrutiny and more attention. So we need to know any of those factors involved. The LFCC alert system, it's very simple to get involved. You know, you'll be notified via certain ways, like the alert system, PA system, phone top messaging. All the phones in all the classrooms will also, the classrooms, if you walk by or walking in and out of the rooms, you may see a phone in that room. Look at it. There is a message display board on those phones that will also broadcast information. That's good to know. To get signed up with the alert system, you just text LFCC alert, all in one word, to 226787, or visit the alert.lfcc.edu site, and that will also help you through the process. And you can do this through the main page, the main LFCC page. I would recommend anybody do it because all kinds of information are put out, whether it's inclement weather closings or cancellations or different things like that. You'll be notified through the alert system. It's unfortunate. We do have many times where the colleges had to close due to some kind of inclement weather or an emergency in the building, and people show up and they're not on the alert system, so they don't know, and they make the trip anyway. So I would just suggest that you get signed up with it if you already haven't done so. We like to mention crime prevention. It is crime prevention is everybody's responsibility, not only us as officers to remind people to lock doors and windows, and it extends not only from the workplace, the home place, but also into the schools, because the thing is, you should be alert of your surroundings. You should be aware. One of the services we provide as police officers here, if you're nervous about going to your car and it's dark out, we'll walk you out to the parking lot. We'll provide an escort. If you see something that's suspicious out there, please let us know. It's all about, having the right mindset. Have your keys ready when you get to your car, when you're walking to your car. Take a moment to look in your car before getting in. There have been instances where people can hide inside cars. You never know what's going on in the surrounding environment. Be aware of events that may affect your safety on campus or elsewhere. There might be something going on in the surrounding area. You may have seen a post or heard of something that's going on that may spill over to this area. We are in an area, all of our campuses are near interstates or large busy roadways, commerce centers. So some of that stuff can spill over, so it's good to know. The speed limits that are posted around campus are all enforceable. They're here for a reason. We tell people to watch your speed. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic here. So we tell people, be conscientious, be courteous when you're driving through campus, and be careful. We tell people to walk in groups. You can stop by the police desk if it's you, like I said, you're alone, and we'll help you walk out there, or you can give us a call and we'll meet you outside if you want, and you want us to walk you into the building. Leaving alone at night, hit and run with a vehicle, anything like that, strangers asking questions, come and talk to us, and we'll be happy to address those issues and talk to you about it and take the information where necessary. Keep it, hide it, lock it is kind of the mantra of crime prevention. The thing is, people not only here, but anywhere, an opportunity for crime will allow it to happen. Have things been taken from vehicles? Absolutely, it happens all the time. Most of the time it's because people leave it in plain sight. They don't lock their cars. They don't hide it. The thing is, or they don't keep it on their person. I've taken numerous reports prior to working here for people who just left everything from laptops to wallets, purses, even cash sitting on a seat. And people take advantage of that. Unfortunately, the unsavory elements of the world will take advantage whenever possible. So we tell people, be careful, keep it, hide it, block it. Identity theft is another thing. We get people that come by all the time and ask us about, what can I do to keep myself safe? When you're in the college, you may be, logged into the local Wi-Fi here, and that's public. So the thing is, you want to monitor things. You want to not do confidential business on a public domain Wi-Fi system. So, just identity theft is a serious thing. Secure your passwords, keep all your personal information safe, monitor your credit, and respond rapidly. If you do see something that's suspicious, either ask one of us or call your local law enforcement if you think you are the victim of identity theft, and reporting it is key. And stopping it once you notify and see it, stopping those credit cards or putting a hold on certain things, or a debit card. Rideshare information. It's another thing that, some people are part of the ride sharing. So the thing is, take advantage of it. Check your app, check license plates, ask, what's the name of the person in the time that we live in. A lot of people use Uber and different things like that. Safety is paramount when you deal with those things as well. So, if you are going to use some of these ride share, formats, or if you are going to take advantage of some of these Uber or different things like that, just be cautious of what you're doing. Be careful. Things do happen. Your safety is paramount. It is personal, and that's what's called personal safety. So remember, you're the one who has to take charge and be aware of what your surroundings are and what's going on. So be diligent, be vigilant, and be careful. Some of the things that we help here, be sure to get your ID. Everybody who is at the college needs to have a student ID. You'll need it to utilize the services here. You'll need it for some of the things like the library or checking out books. But that ID card, it's rolled into your tuition. It's free of cost. So if you need an ID card, please come get it. They are good for a calendar year. If you lose an ID, just come by the police desk and we'll make you another one. It's fine. Parking permits are required. So once your vehicle, you'll be driving here. If you have a primary vehicle, let us know what that vehicle is and we'll issue you a parking permit for it. It's a simple process. It's free as well. Those fees are all paid for through your tuition, so take advantage of it. It helps us as well. If we're making patrols of the parking lot and we see vehicles that don't have IDs or parking passes, where they kind of stick out because they don't belong here. But if something does happen to a vehicle, it helps expedite the process of notifying the owner if your vehicle is struck or we do notice something wrong with it, your lights are left on, it helps us to contact you and let you know. Also helps in the event of a stolen vehicle, hit and run accident. So it's good to have that information. So basically that's a whole bunch of information in a real short amount of time. Chris, I'll turn it back over to you. I don't know if anybody else is here and there's any questions that anybody might have, but if so, please feel free to use my email address. The phone number is listed and we'll take advantage of that and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. But thanks for taking the time to listen.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. We did have a student join us.
Okay.
I don't know if she has any questions. I don't have anything in the chat box. Any questions for Alex? She does not have any questions.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to stop sharing at this point. But thanks for letting me ramble on and, get all that information out there.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's important information that every student needs to know. And we, as part of New Student Welcome Week, this session is part of the giveaways that we're doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put up the screen so that any students that review the recording or for our student that joined us today, Stephanie, you can go to this link that I'm about to put up and submit for attending Alex's presentation. You get one entry form for attending, and then we'll announce the winners on Monday, August 24th. So let me put that up in a second.
24th?
Yes, August 24th.
Well, good. I'm glad I can help. And like I said, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at any point. And thanks, Chris.
Thank you. So yeah, here's the link, tinyurl.com/LFCC-summer 2020. So make sure that if you are listening to this recording or if you listen live, make sure to submit for attending because you get a chance to win an iPad mini, AirPods, or Nintendo Switch.